Welcome, everyone, to the Classic Soap Operas podcast. For almost 20 years, a show called The Doctors was an absolute pillar of NBC's daytime schedule. It was a powerhouse, winning Emmy Awards, and it even launched the careers of some of Hollywood's biggest stars. And then, poof, it just disappeared.
It's a really fascinating and, frankly, a bit of a cautionary tale. I mean, how does a show go from being at the absolute top of its game to getting completely canceled in just a few years? Well, that's exactly the story we're going to dig into today: the life, the death, and the very surprising afterlife of the Doctors.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with its pretty unconventional beginning, then move into its award-winning glory years. After that, we'll uncover the series of changes that really sealed its fate. We'll also take a look at its amazing legacy as a launchpad for huge stars. And finally, we'll get to its cancellation and the tragic story of what happened after.
All right, let's jump in our time machine and go all the way back to April 1st, 1963. Now, on that very same day, ABC launched a little show called General Hospital. But NBC, they launched The Doctors with a completely different and honestly a pretty radical idea for a daytime drama.
See, the show's big initial gamble was this anthology format. That meant a brand new, completely self-contained medical drama every single day. But you know what? Viewers did not like it at all. They wanted to connect with characters they knew week after week, following that proven successful soap opera formula. And the numbers? Well, the numbers don't lie. In its first season, with that format, the show pulled a really dismal 3.4 rating. But after they switched to a continuous story in March of '64, focusing on the lives and drama at Hope Memorial Hospital, the ratings more than doubled to a 7.5. That simple switch literally saved the show from an early grave. Okay, so with that initial crisis averted, the show entered its golden era. Throughout the late 60s and right into the 70s, The Doctors wasn't just popular, it was a critical darling. It was a true television powerhouse. And we're not just talking a participation trophy here. The show won the Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Drama Series, not once, but twice, in 1972 and 1974. Its leads, Elizabeth Hubbard and James Pritchett, also took home Emmys for their iconic roles as Dr. Althea Davis and Dr. Matt Powers. The show really earned a reputation for telling stories that were bolder and more realistic than its competitors, tackling some really complex issues head-on. In fact, they were so proud of their award-winning status that it became a core part of the show's identity. It was literally written right into the opening. Every single day, the announcer Mel Brandt would remind audiences of the show's prestige. This wasn't just any soap opera. It was the Emmy Award-winning program. So by the mid-70s, The Doctors was a top 5 daytime drama. It was riding high. But as the decades started to wind down, a series of decisions by the network kicked off a chain reaction that would, prove to be fatal. It really all started in 1978, when NBC just started shuffling its schedule around. First, they moved The Doctors from its longtime home and pitted it against ABC's super popular One Life to Live. Then, in 1980, it got moved again, this time to 12:30, to make room for a new soap called Texas. A year later, it found itself going head-to-head with CBS's rising powerhouse, The Young and the Restless. And the final, just devastating move came in 1982 to the noon time slot, which, as any soap fan knows, is notorious for getting bumped by local news. And you can see the impact on the audience, plain as day. In the 73-74 season, the show was ranked 4th overall. By 79, just one move later, it had plummeted to 11th. By 81, it was tied for last place. And in its final season, the rating had just completely collapsed. This constant instability just made it impossible for the loyal fans to keep up. But before we get to the very end, let's pause the doom and gloom for a minute. Let's talk about one of the show's most incredible and lasting legacies, its unbelievable eye for talent. I'm telling you, Hope Memorial Hospital was practically a breeding ground for future Hollywood legends. Okay, here's a little trivia for you. What do Alec Baldwin, Kathleen Turner, and Ted Danson all have in common? Well, if you guess that they all got their start walking the halls of Hope Memorial, you are absolutely right. And that list is it's staggering. We're talking future Oscar winners Ellen Burstyn and Armand Assante, Star Trek's Jonathan Frakes, a very young Sigourney Weaver in an uncredited role, and of course, future soap icon Kim Zimmer, who actually took over the role of Nola from Kathleen Turner. It's an absolutely amazing cast list that really speaks to the quality of the show's production. So despite its incredible history and that amazing cast,
the ratings slide was just irreversible. In the fall of 1982, NBC made the official announcement. The end was near for the once great soap. The final episode of The Doctors aired on New Year's Eve 1982, and just like that, the book was closed on 5,155 episodes and nearly 20 years of television history. The show went off the air with a final Nielsen rating of just 1.6. Now, to put that in perspective, at the time, that was a record-breaking low for a network soap opera. It was just a shocking and definitive end to such a long and storied run. But the story has one last and honestly really tragic postscript. Before the days of streaming and DVDs, networks didn't see much value in archiving daytime television. So the common practice was something called tape wiping, literally erasing and reusing expensive videotapes to save money. And because of this, it's believed that hundreds of episodes, especially from the show's final 2 years, were wiped forever. So the fall of The Doctors really leaves us with this lingering question. It wasn't just a soap opera. It was an Emmy-winning drama, a snapshot of its time. With so much of it just gone, we're left to wonder what performances, what incredible stories, and what part of our shared television history have we really lost forever?